Hi, my name is William Boger, and I am a certified public accountant. I've had about 35 years of experience in the tax area, and I want to talk to you about how to get out of trouble with the IRS. I've helped dozens and dozens of taxpayers to get out of IRS troubles. There's a variety of ways to do it, just as there are a variety of ways to get into trouble with the IRS. And you can get into various degrees of trouble. And I want to go over how to use these various methods to help yourself out of trouble. I'm going to take a do-it-yourself approach to this and give you the data, or at least try to give you all the data that you need to get yourself out of your IRS troubles. So, first of all, I want to talk about the degrees of trouble you can be in with the IRS, and then we'll get into the best ways to address those problems. There are various different methods that you can use, different programs that the IRS has, and some of them are suited to your situation and some are not suited to your situation. And then lastly, we will talk about, before I end this particular segment, how to evaluate the degree of trouble that you're in with the IRS. So when you start getting these IRS letters or notices, you should, first of all, don't throw them away. A lot of people just throw them away. You should open them up and take a look at it. Typically, by the third or fourth letter, the IRS will be getting fairly agitated, and if you get a letter that says notice of intent to levy or notice of imminent seizure, then you should definitely be addressing your situation. Okay, now what are the best ways to address your particular situation? Now this depends on how much you owe the IRS and what your income sources are and what your assets and liabilities are. So that's a little bit more detailed. I'm going to get into that more fully in a subsequent talk. But for now, your purpose is to get into compliance with the IRS. The IRS has this general term called getting into compliance. At that point, they cease their collection actions. So you want to get into compliance with the IRS. Now there is another alternative that some people go into, which is just continuing to go through life and operate without being in compliance, which means the IRS is more or less after them all the time, or after you all the time. I've seen people go on for years and years like that, and that could be done. I'll touch on that briefly also in a subsequent talk. But for right now, let's talk about how to figure out what to do immediately or right now. So you're getting these letters, you open up the letters, you need to see, figure basically how close the IRS is to shutting you down. So if you have a collection, notice of collection, usually there's some letters on the top of that. One series of letters has a CP letter on it, a CP 50 something series. They send these letters out. If you have a 503, that means they're getting pretty agitated. You probably should respond. The 505 is the notice of levy. That usually comes in a certified letter, and that means at that point, in about 5 or 10 days, they're going to seize whatever assets they can of yours. So open these letters, take a look at it. You can call the IRS. We're going to talk about what the various alternatives are to get the IRS to stop the collection actions. That is to say, to get in compliance, or at least have the IRS think you're getting into compliance and expect that you're going to be in compliance, so they stop collection actions with doing one of these alternatives, or sometimes one or more of the alternatives that I'll be getting into next. So thanks for listening. Again, this is William Boger. I'm a tax accountant, and I want to tell you how to get out of your IRS problem.